early 40s and 50s in Columbus, the black folks, Negroes at that time. Mm-hmm. And we worked together, and I think if you needed money, you go to the number banker, if you couldn't get any money or something. We had our own city and our own life right here on the east side. Didn't know about any other side, this is your world, I was raised, people thought I was spoiled, but I wasn't. Everything I had, if I wanted something, I had to work for it. Mm-hmm. And I had a job for 25 cents per car to dust it off every day. It was 2 cars to wipe off and everything like that. I sold eggs. I worked. I had to Mom put a hat on me and they gave me a little stool and go out there and pick all those beans and do things. I learned how to get eggs from the chicken and even how to cut them and clean them and how to do all that stuff, I was not spoiled, as the only girl or anything to do, It's just that this is part of life. I think the Henderson House should be, Hayes Henderson should be a learning factor, a learning place. We have had wonderful experiences where people have rented tables and chairs, and they come out with everything and have big weddings, which we did have. We also have pictures of that. Outside, there was even some of the guys, people from German Village came and had an event, and they had their table out at night in the middle, in the front of the flower bed, and had chandeliers and things. We had dances where the gazebo is, and it was night and had candles all out. These are a group of women that had their imagination running. They said they wore all white and they had candles out there and so forth. In my garage, I still have those torches and things. Mm-hmm. Imagination is available there. You can do it as long as you don't put nails and ruin things, you have to set a ground rule, and then everything else is easy. Parking, I had a nice parking space in the back. Since I have there's a bathroom in the basement. Did you know that? Did you see it? It's a bathroom and a shower in the basement. Okay. But I have 2 brothers here, Esquire Leo Ross and Robert Ross.
I'm only Robert when I'm in trouble.
Sunday morning, when you took a ride up Mount Vernon and rode back down Long Street, can you name some of the prominent people who lived on Mount Vernon?
A.P. Bentley, Dr. Duncan, of course Waldo Tyler's drugstore was there, C.D. White's funeral home, and McNabb's. Did you know that was the first black bank on Long Street? Yeah, McNabb's. But I'm trying to think. Cecilia Chancellor, Bus Wright, was the principal of the school or something, Bus Wright. They lived on Long, you go up and down Long, Nelson Road, and they had a couple of houses, A.P. Bentley, those are the ones I can remember. I think, just coming down the street. And I was a little girl then, but,
You mentioned A.P. Bentley? Mm-hmm. And so, was he a businessman in the neighborhood?
Yes, and there was Dill Whitaker, Bonnie Whitaker and her husband. They had the Whitakers' funeral home. We knew the Whites on Mount Vernon that had I think my mother stayed with the White family when she moved to Columbus. They had on Mount Vernon. We knew all the prominent business people. My father was either their attorney or they all were in the same fraternity, and it was a close-knit East Side. Oh, and Beatty's, Otto Beatty, and Yes, it's just Barnett's, yes. I need help over here. Names, but just they were all prominent black people, and we lived on the East Side. Now, when Caney, my deceased husband, when he was on patrol, they sent him to Flytown and everything. Then they sent him over to the East Side, and he thought he hit heaven. Mm-hmm. It was the best move he ever had. He never wanted to, the East Side had more cultural people. And when I was on 20th Street, we had different people. Nancy Wilson's mother raised me when I was on 20th Street as a child. My mother had help, you know. And I'm trying to think the other lady. She was in Valley of the Dolls, the maid that found the bodies in the Valley of Dolls. Winnie, her name was Winnie. She was another person that helped raise me. And she moved out to California, and then she's the one that found the bodies in real life, the bodies in the movie called Valley of the Dolls. Mm-hmm. And she stayed out there in California with her brother. What else? So we've been surrounded. That's good people. Absolutely. Good people. Good bones. That's what makes life, you know. You have good examples. And my father always took me, make sure that I get education. He didn't believe, he wanted you to go to school every summer, and he made sure he took you to everything and learn everything that he possibly.
And what church did you actually attend on Sunday? That was at St.
St. Cyprian's.
You did St. Cyprian's?
Yes,
okay,
and St. Cyprian's closed while I was in Virginia, or a long time ago. I wasn't here when they closed, and went over to St. Dominic's.
Right.
And I think St. Dominic's used to be Prejudice. And
well, because then St. Anthony was there as the hospital.
Yes, it was.
And it was Prejudice. It was segregated.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, no, St. Anthony was segregated.
Yeah, I would cut through, like coming home from school.
Yeah,
come
exactly.
down and walk through
right.
and come out, you know. Oh, you're from here, you know that. You know,
oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then I remember going up to Pondexter Village. Mm-hmm. You know, sometimes I'll walk over that way, and there was a milk company over that way. And Borden's, yeah, Borden's. And, yeah, Borden's milk and everything. Those were the good old days where you were right there. And we had services. You remember the Omar bread man comes to your door, and we had deliveries, right. You know, and so forth. Now we don't have the luxury.
We have Amazon.
Yeah. Well, my mother and father both belonged to different organizations, and he belonged to the Elliott B. Law.
And the National Bar Association.
Of course. They can tell you more than I can on that. And my mother was the president of the LAW, Lawyers Active Wives Club. My father was Alpha Phi Alpha. And my mother belonged to a music, you know, she sang classical music, studied it at Capital University.
Is there anything in particular you would like to see happen to the property? Is there any way that you think it would be really important to have it commemorate the kind of history that you've shared with us today?
I'd like for you to do what you plan on doing. It's a continuation of what I have been doing. And I have a book showing Leo and his wife got married. There was a big wedding there. And it was all outside. People, organizations, sororities, fraternities, they came there for the events. It's Michael Coleman, when they decided to become mayor, they didn't want to have a meeting downtown, so they came to my place. Mm-hmm. And it was a place that political, and I've entertained several attorneys and judges' wives and things like that. It's just like an open house. It's a friendly place. Mm-hmm. And the way the layout was, you know, that piano was a wedding gift to my mother and it was over on 20th Street at that time as a wedding gift. We also had a player piano in the basement. It's gone. For big mirrors over the fireplace, and it's gone. But do not touch that wall because it hasn't been, the asbestos is all.
Right.
And in the living room?
Right.
Yes, I was about to do that myself because right where the chandelier, you see a crack. And when Yerke had the first explosion, our windows in that living room settled down, and didn't know that until I saw ivy growing through. And, you know, we had a grant on the east side. I think you might know about that. A long time ago, where we had money allocated to our east side, especially up and down. That's why I was going up and down Atchison Street to get names and everything, for a house that we could embellish the houses in the neighborhood. Right. And only 2 or 3 houses were qualified. Everybody was still on a mortgage, and my house and 2 other houses were already paid for. Mm-hmm. And I was insulted when the guys came in and said, "Oh, this rug is old and this is old," and I was getting insulted. But what they were doing is counting it down so I can get, it was a grant,
More.
and get new and everything. So I had the house, the wall in the living room would show cracks because they explained that winding staircase, which is cherry wood, when you go up and down, it swings.
Yep.
So that's why the wall would. So I was introduced to this wallpaper that is on the back of all your good wallpaper books, that you put this paper up on it, and it's like a Band-Aid to the walls. And then you can paint and everything else. It looks like drywall. So I did that, and that's why you say the house is in good condition. And then I decided to design the bathroom as a brothel. So I have flowers all up in the ceiling, which is floral wallpaper, and the chandelier and so forth. And I don't know what is in there now. See, I'm, A.P. Bentley, Dr. Duncan. Of course, Waldo Tyler's drugstore was there.
Now, what about C.D. White?
Yes, well, yeah, C.D. White's funeral home. Well, yeah. And McNabb's, did you know that was the first black bank?
Yeah.
Okay.
On Long Street, yeah.
On Long Street, yeah. McNabb's. But I'm trying to think. Cecilia Chancellor. And Bus Wright. He was the principal of the school or something, Bus Wright.
Oh yeah, Chesapeake.
Chesapeake. And they lived on Long, you go up and down Long, Nelson Road, and they had a couple of houses, A.P. Bentley, those are the ones I can remember. I think, just coming down the street. And I was a little girl then, but, it was.
When time you pull up on Atchison and you walk up that walkway, what should someone feel? That's what we would like to, if you can summarize.
To me, there's one thing that always stands out, as I said before, was that America has had a very complex relationship with racism, slavery, and all. But it shows, you take a complex person like Rutherford B. Hayes, and his involvement in abolition and then other things that he did that seemed to be, contrary, to those principles, in Reconstruction, and you see the transition of that property, and the transition of that property, in that now it becomes part of black culture.
Wow, yeah.
For this country, and watching that transition and how we come from that complexity to where we are right now as a historical jewel in our culture.
I like that. I like that.
To me, it'd be a model of our resiliency, because it and even when you're talking about it as an educational place, even if you looked at some of the practices that the chickens, the growing things and making sure that things were there, the opportunity, this sets a foundation for even Ohio State to be a huge part, if they recognize and value the opportunity of perpetuating that resiliency and actually highlighting it, because I think that's extremely important.
I'd like to continue what we had started. It's doable. I think it's a beautiful location and land where you can do and express yourself. You can have many things there. I just had certain rules. Do not put nails and things into the wood, and so forth, They can use tape or whatever to preserve, because I had a group that came in and wanted to string things up on the dining room wall. I said, no. Well, we can come back and paint. Never do things like that. Keep your rules and everything in line, and let everything else happen around it.